So I think initially my story is very different. I didn't walk into the dance world knowing that this was going to be my career moving forward. Competitions, that's a lot of fun. You're experiencing the stage for the first time. And I loved being on stage. I loved being in the spotlight, and I wasn't one of those kids that got scared on stage. I really enjoyed it. I moved into the dance world more because of an escape. 9 or 10, I can't remember exactly the amount of aspirants there were. We called them graduates at that time. And now all of a sudden, everyone there is better than me. And that was a weird feeling. Looking back, was I ready to stop my career for my own selfish reasons? No.
Hello dancer, welcome to another episode of Free Dance Podcast. Today I'm excited to speak with a phenomenal dancer, choreographer and teacher. From our time at Joburg Ballet to her incredible dance career, she's here to share her story, her inspiration and her vision in the future of dance. Please, let's welcome Shannon Glover. Hello. Hello.
Hi,
Hello.
Munir. How are you?
Good, and you? Thank you for coming to my podcast.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Super. How are you feeling?
I feel a little intimidated.
Why?
Being here. I don't know. This is not a normal thing for me.
I know. Everybody says the same thing. Like, like when they're doing podcasts, and because it's so intimate, it's just like it's the person and you. That's it. Before we start recording, that the mission that I want to do with the podcast is just to give to the new generation something for they to look up to. For example, like in Cuba, we used to have many dancers that we used to watch on TV and be like, oh, I want to be like that person. And I feel like here in South Africa there is, but feels like the people that made the path, the new generation doesn't know about it, and or maybe they don't. I don't know, in their school they don't talk about, and for me that's really important, because that's how you learned how to become a professional dancer, having someone to look up to. And if you don't have that around you, what do you do? So that's why I'm so happy that you are here, because you make a big story in Joburg Ballet, and you're still doing that. And for me, it's important that people know who you are besides Shannon Glover, the dancer, So let's talk about everything.
Yes, I agree. I think it's good.
I just want to start from the beginning. How you're studying white dance? I always ask the same question. Why dance?
Why? I think it just from a young age. I remember being in nursery school as a child, and we used to have ballet class, but for little 3-year-olds. So it's just, being fun, running around. And I enjoyed doing that. And that teacher from our school had a ballet studio, and I just loved her classes. So from there, I continued going to her studio at nursery school. And then I really just loved performing. I loved, I loved being joyful, and I think dance brought a lot of happiness to me as a young child. And that was how it started.
How was the first time that you stepped into a studio and you realized, like, okay, this is going to be either fun or it's going to be difficult for me?
So I think initially my story is very different. I didn't walk into the dance world knowing that this was going to be my career moving forward.
Okay.
I moved into the dance world more because of an escape. Not very many people know my private story, but it wasn't necessarily just my love for dance, which was there, of course, otherwise I wouldn't have continued. But it was more to get out of my head, out of my current life, and have a bit of like transported into a different world, which I think dance gives you. It gives you some kind of like harmony and joy and happiness if you're experiencing something that isn't giving you that. And that's how I initially started my dance journey. I think growing up, my mum, she was very supportive when it came to dance, because I think she could see that maybe I had some form of talent. At a young age, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And I think my teacher could also see that I had a little bit of talent, but for me it was different. And when you're younger and you start doing competitions, that's a lot of fun. You're experiencing the stage for the first time. And I loved being on stage. I loved being in the spotlight. And I wasn't one of those kids that got scared on stage. I really enjoyed it.
That's nice.
But for me, I knew if I won a competition, the prize would be money. And we didn't come from a very great financial background. So I knew if I wanted a new pair of shoes or if I wanted anything special for myself, I could get it if I won a competition.
Okay.
So that was my initial drive. Then the older I got, I realized that oh wow, maybe I can do
something.
this.
Yeah.
And I really loved it. And it wasn't necessarily ballet. I was doing all dance forms. I loved jazz and I loved contemporary, and they all gave me a different sense of escapism and a different sense of like discipline within the class. Ballet for me was very disciplined. I could really get into the precision of everything, where contemporary and jazz was more for me just to like be free and let go and fall on the floor and create whatever I wanted to in my head. But I think the technique of ballet was very difficult growing up because it was a different discipline.
Yeah.
But at the same time, having both was a great balance. So then, continuing my journey, I started winning a lot of competitions. And my mum then thought maybe I should go to the National School of the Arts because there I could do dance as a subject. And when I moved into that school, ballet became more of a forefront for me because you were doing like, I think, an hour and a half or 2 hours of ballet every day just at school. And then only afterwards you would go to your teacher privately for dance.
Oh, so you have the normal class and then privately you have another teacher?
Yes. So like during my school hours, you would go to English and maths and science.
Oh, okay. I thought you were having ballet before and then ballet after with your private teacher.
I did.
Oh.
So like at school, like you'd finish school at 2 and then in that time period we'd have like an hour and a half of ballet every day.
Sure.
And then you'd have like Spanish dance as well, and then you'd have other forms of African dance. So you got to learn most forms of dance, which I really enjoyed. Then you had to be there for the history of dance. You had to learn that. You had to know. You had music classes. So it was more of a holistic way of learning about dance, but ballet was our forefront, became my forefront. Yeah. And we had incredible teachers. My teacher there was Vivian Lorraine. She's not with us today, which is very, very, makes me very sad. She was an amazing teacher. Beautiful person, beautiful heart, an extremely talented woman. And she gave me that love for ballet. And at school we were pushed and you had to execute a certain amount of things in your ballet technique. And I think that grew for me as I grew as a dancer with that kind of foundation from her. And then after that, I'm skipping out a whole lot of stuff just to make the story a little bit shorter. But after that, I did a competition, and in actual fact, Dane Hurst was in that competition as well. And it was the contemporary and the ballet. And it was kind of like competing against each other.
Okay.
And I was on the contemporary side and Dane was on the ballet side. And we had to do a piece from a choreographer. And Esther Nasser, it's the first time I met her, our previous CEO of the company, of Joburg Ballet. She came and choreographed a solo for us, who was in the contemporary section. And Dane and I both won the competition, and it was a bursary. And Dane went overseas, and I stayed here. And then afterwards, I went to go meet him there at Rambert, and there weren't any contracts or anything available. So I came back to South Africa. And then after that, I was ready to just throw my shoes away, honestly.
Really?
I thought like, there's nothing really for me. I was going in more of the direction of a contemporary company. Yeah. And I found like there was no contemporary company here
in South Africa
that could work for me personally. For other dancers, fine. But for me personally, it wasn't really what I saw that I could fit into that kind of company. And I was very upset that I couldn't be overseas. So I thought, like, okay, I'm done. And my mum pushed me to join, at that time, the South African Ballet Theatre. So I auditioned.
What year was that?
Geez, I think it was 2004.
2004, okay.
Yeah, or 2003. I can't remember.
How old were you? How old were you
It was
there?
straight after school, so I was
18.
18
Okay.
19. So I auditioned for the company just as a bit of a backup. And my mum said, well, you can't just not dance the whole year until you go overseas again and audition again and look for a job.
Yeah.
So I thought, okay, well, that makes sense. So I decided to audition, and I remember Dirk giving me a call to say, I have now gotten into the company as an aspirant.
Okay. But before we go to company,
Yeah.
I want to see the part of your journey in the company. You did a lot of competition. I just want to ask you, what is the difference from all this competition that you did before to now? Because since like back in the day you did quite a lot, but now in South Africa there is every single day competition. What is the difference from old competition to now? What can you take from that?
Sure. So my personal opinion is that there are a lot of kids wanting to dance, which I think is amazing. I think it's great. I think every child should dance growing up. And I think there are different platforms. There's competitions for kids that are just wanting to be on stage and to experience that life and to perform. And you get other competitions where dancers are looking at dance as a career. And those competitions are a little bit harder and harder to get into, and they have a greater outcome if you want to get into a company, or if you want to be sponsored, or someone's headhunting for a dancer. So that's what I would say are the differences between the two competitions at the moment. And I see a lot of the competitions, the platform for dancers that are just wanting to be on stage just to perform. And I don't think necessarily classical ballet is the forefront of the competitions here in South Africa. I would say a majority of them would be the contemporary-based jazz. I know there's one huge competition, I can't think of the name off the top of my head, but it's not classical ballet. It's a lot of like tricks, like gymnastic style, not classical.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the reason I ask you this, because you were saying that you did a lot of competition, but the reason that you did competition is for you to get out of your zone and trying to fight for something, because like you say, you didn't have enough financial good situation to buy point shoot, but the only way for you to buy that is doing competition. But right now in this generation, they just do competition just to get a medal.
Yes.
And that's why I'm like, why so much different from back in the day to now? That of course back in the day we wanted to dance, and we wanted because we wanted to get something for that, but not now to have a medal and be like, oh, my school have like 125 medal and you have nothing, and then you expect people to respect you because you have a lot of medal. For me, that's so weird,
Yes.
And
it is a bit strange, and it's almost like the specific generation. Everyone needs to win. But what are you teaching everyone?
Exactly.
Like, in order to achieve or to meet an expectation, it takes work. And sometimes you will win and sometimes you won't win. And I believe that is part of life. Even with my daughter, she's 3.5 and she always wants to win. How do you... you can't always win, my angel. But I think it's a very important thing to teach a generation growing up to one day meet their expectations that they have. If they believe growing up that they can win, they always win, and they don't have to put in that much effort, who are they going to become as adults one day? And that's not just in dance, that is in every aspect.
Everything,
so you have to put in the work in order to meet that expectation. And people that are really serious about dance know exactly what I'm talking about. If you don't put in the work, you can clearly see that you're not of a standard to be on that stage, or you will understand why you didn't necessarily win, because you know the work that needs to be done in order to get there.
100%.
And your coach and your teacher and your mentor, that is one of the most important people. And I've had great mentors and amazing teachers that have supported me throughout my whole life, From being really young to even today, I still have mentors that are there helping me, that I'm under their wing. And I'm very grateful for that.
Mm-hmm.
And without them, I wouldn't be here today.
100%.
So if you're really serious about it, you have to be serious about who your mentors are and who your teachers are moving forward.
And it's important that you said that until now you still have those mentors that are teaching you. Because sometimes we forget as we become this amazing dancer that who trained us. And sometimes it's easy for the kid just to be like, yeah, she trained me, but I have many competition. But you have to always remember until you die who is the one that make you to get to wherever you are, you know?
Exactly.
Sometimes when I teach it to my kids, I go in the school, I say, I don't have this idea of teaching back in the day. You know, back in the day was rough for dancers to get into something because there were a lot of like pain and crying. But when I teach, I feel like they need to enjoy what they're doing. But I can't make you a dancer. You are the one that have to make you a dancer.
Exactly.
So I will give you 60% or 17%, but the rest is on you. You know what I mean? But you need to have that one thing, willing to
that drive,
you know, to do it. Otherwise, what is the point of being here? Sometimes I go to the school, like they pay a lot of money. I say, I would rather leave and your parent not to pay this because you don't know what they're doing to pay this career. This is super expensive. And I feel like wasting my time on you if you don't want to work on or you don't want to apply what I say. Just leave. If this is not for you, just leave. You know. But once you come to the studio, you have to respect what you're doing, you know, and the people is in front of you. So for me, it doesn't make sense that you come one day, do amazing, then the next day you don't do nothing, and the next day you don't do nothing,
Don't
you know.
You also think that's possibly like a lack of education when it comes
100%.
to dance? Because it's like if you have that education background about dance and what it might take to get there, and you have mentors and you have people to look up to, you will come into that studio with a different mindset. But if you're coming into that studio just to do something as a hobby, if you're not that teacher who's helping that person to have a career, then they possibly need to go to someone else who's got that platform where they just want to do it for an expression, which is what dance is, but at a different level. But I do believe that if you're coming to do something, first of all, you need to enjoy it. Otherwise, you're definitely not going to put in the work. And that's also partly the teacher or your coach to help you see the beauty and the enjoyment in what you're doing and in your art form. And there's so many stories you can tell and beautiful ballets that you can show and beautiful costumes. And that creates this idea and this imaginary thing in your head where you believe like it's like a fantasy. Like I can be part of this fairy tale, this fantasy, and it's beautiful. And oh my goodness, okay, I know I'm going to work. I'm going to work hard. If you're able to instill that, I think the work will come.
100%.
And if you teach with love and care and encouragement,
I think that's the most important, encouragement.
Yeah.
Oh.
Even if it's not 100%, I think the fact that you're encouraging someone, they're like, okay, great, I'm going to push even more. I'm going to push even more. And before you know it, they've improved. So, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. Just moving far forward, you say you joined the company at the time called South Africa, no? South Africa.
Yeah, the South African Ballet Theatre.
At 18. How was that beginning for you to be in a company, and what it took for you to be involved with the people and learning the process of becoming who is Shannon today? Because many dancers, they think, being a company, I'm going to dance, I'm going to be, principal. And I think the parent think that being in a company, they deserve to get to principal, do something principal before they have done
the work,
So share a little bit of that experience for you, how it was to get to principal dancer.
It's funny you say that. You think like you don't have to put in the work. At school, I got to do all the main roles. Like we would put on ballets and we we had amazing people coming in to do that for us, and we did Chazelle, and we did amazing ballets, and I got to do those lead roles. So you automatically think, well, I'm going to do extremely well there because look at me here. And then you get a big slap in the face.
The reality came
like you come into the company, and now in my year, it was quite amazing. I think there were 8, 9, or 10. I can't remember exactly the amount of aspirants there were. We called them graduates at that time. And now all of a sudden, everyone there is better than you. And that was a weird feeling. Not just that, but a different kind of discipline when it came to class. Your teacher or your coach is not just focused on you. They focused on everyone. So you can't necessarily just have the teacher encouraging you the whole time to work. You have to encourage yourself now to work hard. But with saying that, when you have someone that you can watch in class that is so beautiful and is everything that you inspire to be, that helps you getting there. And I remember at that time, our amazing principals were so beautiful. But everyone in that company at that time was extremely beautiful and extremely talented. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been there. And I remember I would stand at the bar and I would have someone who was extremely good in front of me, extremely good behind me. So every time I turned around, I would be like, okay, sure. No time to relax. You have to put in the work. Coming to center, and you would watch the principals. They would go first, do the exercise, and then you would go and try and mimic them and realize how difficult it is. And every day, push and push and push. And because there were so many of us as aspirants, we knew there was possibly only one contract available. Now that's a different story, because now you're all fighting for the same thing. So the person next to you is working just as hard. So now what are you going to do? You work even harder.
How important for you? You mentioned that you going to the center, you watch the principal doing the thing. And I remember when I used to be at Joburg Ballet, I used to have Bernice in front of me in the center. Like everybody were doing the same thing, but she was going always in the first or second group, and then I was at the back. And then I used to be like, wow, how crazy is that this woman worked like no one, And for me that inspired me a lot to pursue that wanting to dance more, because at that moment when I joined the company was you, Bernice, Anya was I think her last year, Michael Rivi was there, Angela Malan was there, so there were a lot of people, and for me watching them and you as well, it's just like, okay, this is how you learned. How important was for you to learn from the principal?
Everything. They gave me everything. A lot of inspiration, obviously. Watching how they worked in class and how you work in class, taking that into your rehearsals, and that not really having an off day is anything of a doesn't happen. You come in and you work. You have good days, you have bad days, but your intention is still to work hard. You always want to improve as much as you can, even if it's a tiny bit that day. And that's what they taught me. They taught me that if you work hard, eventually, if it's something you want, you'll get there. I think when I was cast for my first brackets cast principal role, that's when I learned the most, because I could stand in those rehearsals and do it with them and get their information that they were getting from their coaches in front, see how they were partnering, how they would interpret different characters, how they would prepare, how it was important to repeat and repeat and repeat so you would have muscle memory and not just understand that you knew the step mentally. How something like just standing on stage means so much. Not necessarily moving, but how you stand on stage tells a story in itself. And your first walk onto that stage is important. It's not once you've gotten into the sentence when your music starts. How you present yourself as you get onto stage. All those small things were big things. in the realm of learning for me. So yeah, they taught me so much.
That's good. I hope they get it finally.
Yeah.
And another question that I wanted to ask you, in that moment there were a lot of amazing dancers. How, as a young dancer, knowing that you were dancing the principal role in the school, how do you manage that ego of I deserve to be there? Because I used to be dancing like the principal role. Or how come I'm not going to dance? How do you manage that mentally and physically? Because that's a lot of strain to be for a young girl.
Yeah.
Knowing that coming from, like doing principal, just to lay down, be like, okay.
Yeah, it was sure. It was a huge ego deflation. It was like a balloon and they went, shing. It was. Because you're like a big fish in a small pond and now you're a small fish in the ocean. But I could understand why I wasn't doing it. I could see it. And not just that, my aspirant year, everyone in that year was so strong and so good. Everyone had something that was incredible, like beautiful feet and 180-degree turnout and legs next to their ears. And when I looked at myself, I was like, geez, I don't have those feet. I don't have that turnout. I don't have that height of leg. I need to push. I remember one of my aspirant classes, I was put at the back and everyone else seemed to be getting corrections and attention and I was at the back, and that made me so irritated. I was so irritated and I was like, that's fine, but I will show you, I'll be in the front. Like, I think I have that personality. And a lot of people that were in our aspirant year left after a couple of months.
Oh, really?
Because it wasn't for them. I feel like you have to be very strong to be in a company. Like you say, it's your ego, it's understanding your place, the discipline, the politics. There's a lot going on. You're either going to stay there and do something and make something of yourself, or you're not, and you're going to move into a different career. And that's also totally fine. So there were a few people that left, but ultimately, we all actually got a job at the end of that year, which was never heard of. I think we were one of the first years in the company where everyone in the aspirant year got a contract.
That's nice.
Because we all worked so hard.
So hard, yeah.
Yeah.
And going through the whole thing, through the whole process of being at the company, how was the first time where you were cast as a principal? What do you expected? You knew that it's going to happen? Like, you were like, why they're doing that to me? I'm not ready yet to do it. And who was your partner in that moment? And just tell me a little bit your preparation to become that principal dancer.
Yeah. Well, before there's a lot that happens. So you in the core, you're lucky if you get on stage. At that time, we were doing like 25 shows, a lot of shows, but there were a lot of dancers. And when I was in the company, everyone wanted to get onto stage because that's why you were there, right? You wanted to be on stage every night if you could. But there were so many good dancers that you were lucky if you got on stage for the second show or the third show because you were third or fourth cast, right? And then you work your way up. You're lucky if you get cast in a soloist role, a fairy maybe, or I don't know, any other soloist role. Bluebird, that's quite a big one to do. Once you start doing those roles, you start knowing that you can progress. Oh, okay, wow, I can do this. Maybe I can do a principal role. Maybe I can step one up. And I think you need those stepping blocks, and it's so important.
Yeah.
I believe going from the quarter ballet straight to principal is very difficult. I feel like you need that progression, because not just from a mental perspective, because that's really, it takes a lot out of you to know that you can do it.
That you can do it,
because being in the studio and doing it, and
it's
being
different.
On stage doing it's very different. And that progression, getting there, builds you when you're ready for that principal role. So when I was bracket cast, like fifth cast brackets, I think I was initially cast with Dion. I think so.
His name sounds familiar.
Yes, UK, a British guy, and for some reason he didn't come back, and I was cast to do Romeo and Juliet, and he didn't come back the next year. I don't know if it might have been a visa or whatever the situation is, or maybe he didn't want to come back to the company, and I didn't have a partner. Then I remember going into pas de deux rehearsal at the back, and Angela Milan was taking our rehearsal, and I didn't have a partner. And she just said to me, yeah, you need to do it by yourself. But it was pas de deux. I was so confused. I was like, all right. Yeah, because if you can do the steps by yourself, then you'll be able to do it with a partner. And I just thought, oh my God, she's crazy. Oh, what she's going on about. But if I think about it now, how right she was, because I wasn't reliant on a partner to hold me up all the time. I was teaching myself to hold myself up in positions. So then Ian MacDonald came down to assist me for pas de deux rehearsals, not to be my partner for performances if I was going to get any, until my partner came back. And he didn't come back. So I just kept rehearsing with Ian MacDonald. And I got to do 2 shows, which was incredible because I was only bracket cast.
Yeah.
And I ended up getting on stage and performing. So knowing that I was brackets and I could learn, however, if I put in the work and I could prove myself, I could possibly get there and do the role. And it was one of the best experiences of my life. Difficult, the rehearsal process and working with Ian MacDonald, because he was a principal, I wasn't. He was super experienced, I wasn't. So I'm sure there was some frustration there because, you know, when you're working with someone that's inexperienced, it can be frustrating.
Yeah.
And I'd never done half of the partnering stuff in my life. I never knew how to do a finger pirouette. I never knew how to hold myself in a lift. And I had to learn with him. But because he was so experienced, it actually was easier to learn with him than learn with someone that was inexperienced. And I'm very grateful for that because it gave me a great sense of how you should be partnered. And Angela Milan was very crucial for me because she gave me all the details and the support and the confidence to get up and execute. And that was great.
How is your preparation before you go on stage? Like, do you have any set of ritual or
like any
meditation,
crazy
any crazy stuff that you do before you go to stage? Because so many people, they, like you say, when you are in the studio, it's different. When you're on stage, it's something else, you know? And I feel like right now we are thinking that being on a stage is just like nothing, just like, okay, I'm going to have fun, which is fine, but there is a lot of preparation behind scene that I think with this generation, we just sit on the phone, wait for the show to start. Okay, it's my turn, put the phone down, go warm up, and at the same time you are doing looking at your phone. I wasn't used to do that before. I just sit on the floor, pray or do my things, and then go on stage. How is your preparation now?
So before a show, you would do class way before the performance, right? And then you have a very long break, a dinner break or a small break before your show. And that time, you cool down a lot. Your body cools down. And a lot of dancers would just kind of like do small things, stretching and roll around and get your body moving before going onto stage. I needed to go into the studio and do full bar to prepare my body again, to feel my body again, because I was feeling a bit cold and I'd been sitting for too long. And now I felt like when I do class or when I do bar, my mental state changes because at that time, you're only thinking about what you're doing.
Yeah.
You're not thinking about, oh, I'm feeling a little bit hungry, or I'm feeling a little bit nervous, or what color whatever it is that's on your mind. You're not thinking about that. You're just thinking about getting yourself, your body ready, your mind ready for ballet. So for me to do bar, probably it was like an hour before the show. That was extremely important for me mentally. That I would always rub some kind of lotion on my body, like a deep heat or a Voltaren or a arnica, just for get those muscles nice and warm. Roll on a roller if I'm feeling a bit stiff. I had some weird things that I used to do.
If you want to share about it, you don't need to.
So everyone who knows me, like when I would put on my point shoes, first of all, I could take 30 minutes putting on my point shoes.
Really?
Yeah. Because I think I Chinese bound my feet. I used to make my shoes so full of cotton wool.
Really?
People who are going to be listening to this are going to be laughing. So full of cotton wool, so my foot wouldn't move in my shoe. I used to hate that feeling of your foot sliding in your shoe. And because I was feeling quite anxious or nervous before going on stage, I would change my shoes like 10 times.
Really?
Yeah, and add more cotton wool and more cotton wool and more cotton wool until like I could hardly fit my shoe on my foot.
Wow.
Yeah, people used to think I was crazy. Well, maybe I was.
Yeah, well, it's just a thing to do, like you feel safe like that.
Yeah, it made me feel, okay, now my shoe's perfect. I feel strong. I feel safe. And my foot's like, But what's great with the cotton wool, people don't understand, is that after a while, that cotton wool like kind of condenses. So it's not so tight anymore. So throughout the show, it was fine. So I used to do that. That was a bit cuckoo. And retying my ribbons. So once my shoe was on, I would tie my ribbons, walk, retie my ribbons, get on stage, sit, retie my ribbons. Just before going on, quickly retie my ribbons. It was just like a nervous thing. Like you were always so freaked out that your shoes weren't perfect. Then from a mental perspective, I would always try get into whatever role I was doing, knowing my story, knowing who I was going to be. I don't like talking before a show. So whoever was in my dressing room at the time would know, like, please, if you wouldn't mind, don't talk to me because this is my time to prepare. And some people aren't like that. Some people are like, oh, how are you feeling today? Are you excited? Who's coming to watch it? And for me, that would just be like, sorry. I'm leaving now. Can't talk to you. So that was definitely a big thing. Like I needed to be in my own head, my own silence. And then later on in my career, I would start listening to music that put me in a really nice, relaxed state.
Yes.
Because I used to get quite anxious before a show, quite nervous, butterflies in your stomach. And I didn't always know how to handle that. Sometimes when I was younger, backstage, I used to jog. Crazy.
Really?
Before my first Black Swan, because I didn't do full length of Swan Lake the first time I did it, I only did Black Swan. And I remember being side stage while the Act 2 was happening. There was still interval before Act 3, and I was already in my costume, in my shoes, jogging. Because I had so much nervous energy. Now, if I think about it, I was making myself so tired.
Of course.
Making myself so tired before going on and doing something that was going to be exhausting. So did that, then learned very quickly that wasn't a good thing to do anymore. I needed to actually just be calm. Be calm, get into my head about what I'm going to be doing, and also understand, try not have any negative thoughts.
That's difficult, eh?
Yeah, because in the studio, certain steps that you battled with, right? And sometimes they worked and sometimes they didn't. And now, before you go on stage, you only have one chance.
Right? I remember, sorry that I cut you there. I remember I went to New York with this school. I was in South Africa. That was before doing Swan Lake. So in New York, they started doing this competition where you do your ballet solo, but they send you video to learn the contemporary. Yeah, mamma mia. I did learn that contemporary like super well. But just before start, like coming into the stage, I didn't know with what leg I have to start in, like or the right or the left.
Like it's such a simple thing.
Yeah, and there wasn't a specific thing that you need to start with the right, because after that you needed to do something else that will take you to there. I went to the left, and the whole thing went like, when you had like frog, like how you call it, like your brain is just like frog, like that. I just started improvising the whole thing. The whole thing I started improvising because I got so nervous because I was prepared, but I felt like for some reason I forgot what leg I needed to step into.
And how that messed you up, right? One thing, a step.
By the competition.
Crazy. And that's why I think it's so important to make sure you're in the right state of mind before you get on stage and do. It's a serious thing. People have paid money to come and watch a show. They want to watch something of excellence, right? And it's your responsibility to deliver that.
Yeah.
And that's very important. It's a respect for the art form as well. That you come on prepared, knowing what you're doing. And part of that preparation is getting you yourself ready for it, however that may be. And I used to listen to a lot of podcasts, actually, about how do you prepare yourself and have more confidence before doing something. So I remember listening to a podcast about these people that would go in for interviews for jobs. So nothing to do with ballet. And they did this experiment, and one set of people that were going to go for the interview were in one room just sitting and relaxing before reading magazines, whatever they wanted to do before the interview. And in another room, they had everyone doing certain actions. So the first action they would make people do is stand up, chest out with your hands on your hips for a minute and a half, I think it was, I can't remember. They would do that. And then they would make them, after that, stand with their arms up like this, with their chest out. And that, everyone in that group got a job.
Oh, really?
And everyone in another group didn't. And whoever were people interviewing them, they didn't know anything that was going on. So there was some evidence-based data that was there to suggest that if you did these certain things, it would help build confidence before going on and doing something. So I even, just before I retired, even that last show, you would see me walking around backstage with my hands on my hips, opening my chest.
I'm going to try that.
Almost like being confident. And then I would also stand with my arms up, and maybe people thought I was doing something strange, which probably looked a bit strange.
Yeah.
But for me, that gave me, and if you think about it, if you sit like this, like all hunched back, it's quite an insecure way of sitting. But if you sit like this and you sit with poise and you sit in a proud state, you already feel quite confident. So I can understand what's happening neurologically when you're presenting yourself like that. But if you think about it and you go back to ballet class, if you come into ballet class sloppy and you don't have half your stuff and you look like a mess and you're not prepared, well, that's how you're going to work, right? But if you come in the right look, the right mental state, put together, it's a discipline, that's how you work.
Yeah.
So it translated for me from the beginning to then being on stage. Something so important, even San Marie and I would always say, and I think it might have come from Ange as well, Angela Milan, good hair, good show. The crazy thing, right? So I would redo my hair so many times to make sure that my hair was perfect. I didn't have one hair that was out of line. It was sprayed all the way up, perfect. And if it wasn't perfect, redo it. And that just shows you how important and respect.
That's what I'm going to say.
For your art form, that I had made sure that everything I did before the show and how I looked was right and somewhat perfect.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, that's interesting that you say that, because I think I have Kitty a year ago, and she was saying that if you don't have respect for yourself, you won't get nothing. And I think as a dancer, as a professional dancer, you need to start respecting yourself on stage and out of stage for you to be able to get to what you want or to dance the way that you want. Because if you don't have that respect and prepare yourself for something, people will say, he's not well prepared.
It comes across. Even to someone who doesn't have necessarily a ballet eye or any kind of experience in dance, if they've just coming to watch a beautiful show, they can somewhat see that something's not 100%. Right? But they can't necessarily know what it is.
Yeah.
They might not know, but they can tell something's a bit off.
Something off, yeah. Shannon, talking about company, how you work in company, I always want to know how principal and think, because at the company always there is some issues with the management, company dancer. As a principal, do you believe that you have to stand for the dancer and be able to express what the consent the dancer have to the manager, or there is someone specific that need to take care of those matters? Because as a principal, you are a principal. I'm gonna talk my things. I don't care about the choreo ballet. How do you feel in that aspect of be there for the group of the company? Because company sometimes can be difficult.
Yes.
And sometimes it feels like there is no one to
represent,
like everything is it's going to happen, but nothing happens. How do you manage that? But in general, how do you feel about that?
I've always spoken up since being a young dancer in the company, and somewhat too much, where I needed to be put in my place and understood that there was a hierarchy amongst dancers, which is also, I think, it's a good thing. You need to know there's a certain way, a healthy way, right? You don't want to also discourage people. But when it comes to speaking up, when I was a younger person in the company, obviously I didn't want to talk too much because you're a little bit scared. But being a principal, you're right. You've been there for so long, you have a different kind of confidence and a different position within the company that you feel that you can speak up a lot more. And having that platform, I tried my best to speak up for as many people as possible, knowing the fact that when I was in their position, how it felt, how scared you feel that you can't necessarily say the things you want to say because you're worried about how it might affect your career maybe, or whatever it is that you're thinking. And I didn't want that. So it sometimes put me in a difficult position because I would bring up a lot of topics that were hard to talk about, but also necessary. And I'm always there trying to represent the dancers because I know what it feels like. I know what it feels like to be an aspirant. I know what it feels like to go up the ranks. And I know the difficulties that you experience. And maybe if you talk about them and you tell people what you're feeling and what difficulties you have, they can help you through them. But if you don't speak up, how will anyone know? No one can just guess what you're going through. So I did try and do that to the best of my ability because I thought it was the right thing to do.
Do you think like company needs to have more focus on the feeling of the dancer than thinking more about I need you to get this step because you have to look amazing? They're not focusing more on what is going through in the mind of the dancer. I think they just go like, you are an employee and you need to give me this. Because right now I'm in a company that besides the step of the technique of the style that she wants, she really think and take care about how you feeling, what is your thought, what do you do if you have something to say. Like, and I don't think big company doesn't do that. They just throw you into the fire and perform.
Yeah.
Do you think they have to right now in this generation that we are now does need to be changed?
So I have actually a lot to say around this because first of all, I think if you're running a company, you have certain things that you have to meet, right? So your thought process is on a different level. You're thinking about, I don't know, financially where the company is. The company needs to be performing. I need so many dancers on stage, and we need to do so many shows, and it's a business. And my dancers are my product of my business or the city's business. But your product are people. You're a dancer, right? You're still a person, a human being, like everyone else in any other kind of platform. And I think there's a lot more understanding now about mental health and how important mental health is. So not just physical health, not just appearance and performance, but the mental health that supports your performance and your physical body. And there, I believe that we need a lot more of that within the dance community, because now I'm just talking from my own personal perspective, is that you're in a position where you scrutinizing yourself constantly. You're looking at yourself in a mirror. There are expectations that need to be met, right? So you're putting yourself already under a lot of pressure. The person in front is putting you under a lot of pressure. Your management are putting you under a lot of pressure to meet certain expectations, right? But you're not only dealing with that, you're dealing with a lot of your own personal life at the same time. Financially, emotionally. Have you had loss recently within your family? Whatever it may be, people go through things all the time and how that can affect you, right? And your mental state determines how you also execute and perform. And I do believe that we need a space for better mental health within dance institutes.
It's nice that you say that, because, like I say, when we used to be at the company, like back in the day, 10 years ago, there wasn't a person that would sit with you and think, oh Javier, tell me how you feeling, like how can we get to this perform the style or the technique that I need you to get, how can we get there? When I teach, I say to my student, I can give you all the tools, right? But you are the one that is dancing on stage.
Yeah, not you.
Not me. So how can I help you to get there? How can you help me to help you to get there? So tell me, how do you feel? Because I can tell you, the triple period needs to be like that, pa, pa, pa. But if you think about it, all the dancers have different way of turning. Why your way needs to be the same like mine? So this type of thing, I'm trying to get it to my student, just for them to feel like, okay, he's my mentor, but at the same time, he's trying to let me go in a way that I want to do. Of course, having the ABC, but not going like crazy or do 540 when you don't need to do 540, you know what I mean? But give you the responsibility to you to help you to feel good on stage. Because for me, I don't work and I can't do nothing to say, no, why you did that like that? You can't do it. Wow. And that put you in a
terrible state.
Yeah,
like
you go like
sense of like fear.
Next day, this is my show, and then why?
Now what? Now you're too scared.
I remember in Cuba, I saw this. I'm not gonna say name, but I saw this at the Ballet National of Cuba. Normally, after they show, the student go to the back, watch the principal dancer just to take photo, whatever. And this teacher was telling to the principal in Don Q Paede, why you did that? You did one more period than in the partner in the Paede. They have to go period, ponche. So he went after the one extra after the music. And she went crazy on him.
So, sure.
Crazy.
I do think there's that within the institute, because maybe for that example you're using, if you've been training a certain way for so long, right? Should you not perform it like that on stage? If you've been rehearsing 4 or 5 pirouettes, why are you doing 6, 7? Don't.
And I do get that, but I guess if you manage that in a way that doesn't mess up the whole thing, it's still fine.
Yes, so exactly. First, my belief would be that you need to be on the music.
Yeah.
So if you're going to fit in 5 pirouettes and still finish on the music, then fine. But don't do more than that.
More than,
and then
yeah.
the music stops and you're still going.
Yeah.
That doesn't fit, right? You have
100%.
to have that, like.
100%.
But then also, from the other side, if you're the coach, the director, whoever you are, that's part of that production, how do you then respond to whatever might have happened on stage is important. So your example is like screaming and shouting and why did you do that? But I think if you approach it in still a firm manner, saying, well, why did you do this? This is not how we rehearsed. I was a little bit disappointed that you finished after the music. Your approach to the person can still let them know that what they did was not necessarily, I don't know if you want to call it right or acceptable in the director's eyes. However, they know that they're not scared to get on stage the next time. That is important. Because if you come from a place of fear, and I've experienced that multiple times, you can't give your best on stage. You need to know already when you get onto that stage that you can be confident and know that you have the base of the foundation of your technique. You've had great coaching. You're ready in every way and form. But if you come onto that stage with that fear, it's already over.
No, I know.
You've already put yourself at a disadvantage. And I do believe that people who are in charge of dancers, students, professionals have that responsibility to build a dancer up, to know that when they get up onto that stage that they're ready mentally, physically. It's very important.
For me, it's important how you approach the person. Like, don't scream at the person. Like, I know you are frustrated sometimes, but
control yourself.
Control and be like, okay, I'm human. I'm not like a machine that can do everything at the same time that you. I think the only people that can do that is the Chinese, because like they go like super precise,
They're quite intense.
And sometimes they make mistakes.
But you're you're not a machine.
Exactly.
So like humans make mistakes all the time. That's also what's beautiful about the art form, is that every time you do something, it's not always going to be the same. You might interpret Romeo one way, and the next day you're feeling something else, and you're interpreting whatever you're feeling within that show. That makes it just as beautiful, a little bit different.
I know you like physical preps, yoga, Pilates, all the things. How important do you think is to have all this training, Pilates or physical prep as a dancer, just to prevent injuries and everything? Because sometimes we don't. Sometimes I'm doing a lot of Pilates now, but I used to be one of the person that used to be. I only did physical press in the school. After that, I did my push-up, my style, but not as often as you need as a professional dancer, because this career is not long and you need to take care of your body. Right now, I'm enjoying a lot of doing Pilates and reformer.
Is it because now that you know how it's changed you and how strong and how it's helped, right?
Yeah.
But did you have that when you were younger? Did you understand that education behind the extra training to look after your body? And then that's what's important. So for me, I was exactly the same as you. A young person in the company, didn't know that I should be doing other stuff outside. Should I be stretching extra? Should I be, only when I realized maybe I wasn't flexible enough did I start stretching more. I thought just being able to do splits would be fine. But then I was like, oh, okay, maybe I should split off a chair. But like that was just because I was able to see.
Yes.
But no one taught me how important it is to do some form of like rehabilitation. How important it is to do that after an injury, especially. How important it is for recovery. And what to do for recovery. If you don't know what to do, how do you know? And strength training you need if you're battling with technique, with execution of certain steps. There's strength training that you can do to assist you. You've mentioned Pilates, amazing, great for ballet. For me, I love yoga. There's a lot of proprioception work. There's a lot of meditation, which helps clear my mind. There's a lot of strength and a lot of stretching. So for me, that helped me a lot. But I only learned this further into my career when I started feeling and understanding my body better. When I started getting injured and realized, sure, my body doesn't feel the same. I'm really battling with this. How can I change it? How can I make it better? Then, after that, did I realize how important it was. I wish I'd known this prior, the beginning of my career. But with saying that, so is nutrition, so is supplementation.
So important.
So it's like you can do all the work, but if you're not looking after your body from a nutritional perspective and a supplementation perspective, then you're still at a loss. You have to incorporate all of that to have good, excellent performance. Your body is your temple, and your craft is your body. So it's the mental aspect, and the nutrition and the supplementation is still part of the mental preparation and strength within your craft. So I only also learned about that further into my career, because there was this perception that thinner is better.
Yes, please talk about it.
And thinner is not better. I don't believe thinner is better, put it that way. I do understand that aesthetically you have to look beautiful on stage, right? You have to look fit and strong and elegant and light on stage. So there's a certain aesthetic look, and you have to be able to show the line, because ballet is about lines. Beautiful symmetric lines that make beautiful movement. And if you're not in good shape, how can you make those beautiful lines? So yes, you have to be in good shape, but you have to have good nutrition to support that. If you're lacking in that nutritional aspect, first of all, you're at a deficit with your energy levels. You're at a deficit when it comes to memory. You're at a deficit when it comes to bone density, muscle strength, endurance, everything. How are you going to use your body to do any form of movement?
Exactly.
If you haven't fueled your body correctly and prepared your body in order to do that. So thinner for me is, it puts people in a mental space where you starve yourself. Now, what does that do to you? What does that do to your self-esteem? What does that do to your brain? What does that do to your body? You start getting injured. It messes everything up. You start looking at yourself differently, and everything you see you're not happy with, because now you think that you're maybe too fat. And oh my goodness, what that can do to people. It's actually scary.
I know.
So for me, what I believe in is, in order to have the correct look, I always say, if you look at a racehorse, right? They're at the optimal level of what a horse looks like, training. There you can see their muscles. They're fit and they're strong and they're lean. That does not mean anorexic. That's what I think. Fit, strong, and lean. Being lean, if you're fit and you're training correctly and you're eating properly, good nutritional meals with the correct amount of, let's say, like your fruits and your vegetables and your carbs, whatever it is that you eat. If you have a good balance and you're training the way you train in a studio, you'll be strong and fit, and you'll have a beautiful line, and you'll have a great aesthetic look.
I feel more strong now than before, because at Dolly Groove, that's the company that we are now, where you teach as well, we have all this class, Pilates, and a few months ago we have this meeting with a nutritionist about how can you eat and how can you manage your energy, because sometimes we think that having energy is just to drink or coffee or
sugary drinks,
I'm gonna say I was one of those persons.
Lots of people.
I was one of those persons, and then I started to eat a small amount during class just to give me more energy. And I felt like, oh wow, like having like small Bilton in class, and that take me to a really nice level of energy that I don't pass it because I'm not drinking or coffee or whatever. But I didn't know that before. I spent my entire life just eating KFC, KFC, and McDonald's, and whatever. And that for me was the energy. Now that I have been with my wife for 3 years almost, I have changed my entire diet, because I used to eat McDonald's like that, and she really said to me, don't eat that, like stop eating that, because that's you're gonna get. And I'm battling a lot of with weight problems since COVID. When I was at COVID, I started, COVID hit really bad to everybody, like terrible. People that they have projects, the project didn't come. Like me, I have an amazing gala in Spain that I didn't do. I was preparing myself for that, so I just put myself like, sure, this is what is happening. And then I started eating. I used to have like a full meal at 3 o'clock in the morning watching TV, waking up at 1 o'clock and have another full meal. And then out of nowhere, I saw myself gain like from 63 a kilo, I went to 70 kilo.
Whoa. Okay. I think during COVID it was obviously difficult because people went through a different state, and you're stuck at home and you're bored. And what do you do when you're bored?
My thing is like from there I started to battling with how
you should eat.
Yeah. How can I lose weight? I thought like after that the gala happened, and then they say to me, if you don't lose weight in 1 week, you're not going to the gala. And the gala was the gala for Alicia Alonso. So the way that I thought, okay, I'm going to lose weight, 1 meal a day. At that moment I was smoking cigarette and coffee every day.
Yeah, I smoked when I was younger as well. Now if I think about it, I'm like, oh, that's
exactly.
disgusting.
I have been 2 years without smoking. So,
really?
Yeah.
I've been like, how many? 10, 15? Long. Yeah. Very long.
Yeah.
But crazy, right?
But it's because we don't have
no one
that.
Teaches you
exactly.
this stuff. That's why nutrition is so important, especially if you're using your body as your tool of work, and if you're doing a form of movement or you exerting yourself to a certain degree. You need to understand what you're putting in your body and what you're doing. And only I would say in the last 5-6 years have I really understood that. I started doing a lot of research myself, and that's what's great about the internet. It's there. If you want to know, go look it up. And nutrition's hard because it's very difficult to study, but the fundamentals are there. You need to know that if you're putting high sugars into your body, what's happening to your glycemic index. You're going to have a quick high, and then you're going to have a quick drop. What is it doing to actual muscle fibers? I'm vegetarian, and someone else that's dancing isn't vegetarian, or they might not eat red meat, or whatever it may be, or they might be it's called gluten intolerant. So you need to know, okay, first of all, this is who I am, this is what I eat, but now how do I know that I'm getting everything I need in my body? So I'm vegetarian, I'm not necessarily eating enough protein. But what I didn't realize when I was younger is that it wasn't just the protein that I wasn't getting, because I did supplement for protein. But what I was missing was the iron. And if you don't know, how do you know that you need supplement with iron? But I could feel I was so fatigued all the time, and I was just not feeling great. But I was eating my right protein. I was even having a protein shake sometimes. But when I went to an endocrinologist who took my bloods, realized that I was actually so low in iron. And as soon as I started taking some iron, I was perfect, strong, fine. So I think it's extremely important to understand nutrition and what it does for your body, how it works, what happens if you eat carbohydrates versus proteins, how much of what you should eat depending on how much exercise you're doing throughout the day, how many hours, how your exertion. But also you need to understand that when you're in the studio, you can't exactly eat a huge meal before you're going to go and do pas de deux, shame. That's not going to be great for anyone. So you're definitely aware of like, that's also difficult. So if you can't eat a normal meal that you would eat if you weren't dancing, what can you have that will help you?
And that's what I'm struggling a little bit, because I feel like if I don't eat, then I'm super hungry when I'm dancing. So if I don't have like a full meal, but then if I eat less, it's just like, oh, I need to eat more. And that's the part that I need to understand. What is the right amount for me before dancing? Because I eat, I don't know, let's say before the show, I could eat like a wrap. By the time I get to the show, I'm like, it's exhausted, I'm full, I'm bloated, like, feel like I'm fat, and then my mind going like, you're super fat, go to the mirror, you know?
Like if you're eating something that's got high carbs, carbs is then released into sugars, and sugars, refined carbohydrates, with sugar, it's got a high, quick spike of sugar, gives you a lot of energy, but then your drop is like down, and that doesn't last very long, your spike of sugar. So that's why you feel so terrible and also hungry again. The more sugary foods you eat in anything, the hungrier you get when you eat sugary foods. So I only started educating myself on all of this nutritional stuff and how it helps the body, what it does to your muscles. If you want to get stronger, if you're dealing with an injury, what foods you need to eat to help heal your recovery and your muscles and your bone density. A lot of dancers, if you haven't been eating properly, you're going to stress fracture. Why? Because you don't have the correct nutrition to support your bones. And how are your muscles going to work? Your muscles need bone in order to work, right? If that bone is not strong, doesn't matter how strong your muscle is.
And how do you teach that to a child that is, because you know sometimes child, they want to eat ice cream and this and this and this, and that's where it comes. Do you really want to do this as a hobby, or do you really want to do this as a professional?
I think moderation, right? I love ice cream. I love chocolate. I eat all of those things often.
Yeah.
Maybe sometimes too much.
Yeah.
That's my downfall, right? But doesn't mean you can't eat it. You need to understand that, like, if you're going to eat it, make sure you're eating properly. Everything else, eat whole foods. Don't eat a refined burger. Understand what you're putting into your body. Because the older you get, then you're going to say, oh goodness, I wish I had actually looked after this temple. Because this temple is what's going to support you after dance as well.
100%.
It's not just about when you're performing. It's important to keep yourself strong, because what happens if you're a woman and you want to have a family one day? If you want to take on something else, or if you're having a great career and you're getting injured all the time and you don't have good nutrition, how are you going to heal? Does your career end?
Yeah.
All of those things are extremely important, and that's part of the educational aspect of dance that I think is lacking in South Africa. But maybe it's lacking also because there's no real, I don't know, sport in South Africa is huge, right? It's supported a lot. The arts, not so much.
Not so much. So Shannon,
yes,
you have retired for how many years now? Like,
it's literally been a year.
A year already.
I know, I can't believe it.
How's it feel?
Feels, sure. How does it feel? It feels weird because I've still been dealing with the process of being retired. And when I saw it had been a year, I thought, like, geez, it feels like it's only been a couple of months. It doesn't feel like it's been a year.
Really?
And yeah, time's gone super quickly, and I still feel a bit of like out of sorts about it. Like, how did that go past so quickly? And like just the other day I was on stage. So it's strange.
Now that you're looking back, what do you have, or what feeling do you have of you that everything that you have done, it was for a good thing or for the right thing, or you are proud of now that you look back? What is that thing?
You know, I absolutely loved my career with every single being in my body, like everything, even the bad days.
Yeah.
like you go home and you complain about it, but I actually love it. I loved everything that ballet was or is for me in a career aspect, and I wouldn't change anything because I think everything was meant to be that way and created my journey that was so fulfilling. I think to this day I still feel heart sore about not being on stage. And when I talk to other dancers that have retired, they have also said to me there are times when they still feel like it's hard.
It's hard,
because there's nothing that can replace what you had. There's nothing that can replace the feeling, the way you worked, being on stage, having that applause after your performance, knowing that you put in so much work, and that feeling of just like, I don't know, how do you explain it? Of accomplishment, of every single bit of sweat and all those hours you put in paid off. It's just the best feeling. And being swept away in a beautiful ballet, it's like nothing you can explain.
Yeah.
It's hard to replace that. And I think a lot of people will build you up and set you up to have a good career and help set you up to necessarily get to where you want to be one day and have a beautiful career. But no one really prepares you for retirement. And that's quite scary because majority of people who are not in a performance profession or professional athlete, they retire at like 67 or 7. I don't even know what the age is, like much later in your life. But any athlete or professional dancer retires a lot earlier. You still have your whole life
in front
of you. And now you've worked towards this one thing your entire life that has been your what you ate in the morning to what time you went to bed and how you prepared, because ballet didn't stop in the studio. Ballet goes home with you and is your DNA. It's in your blood. It's your body. Everything is your career.
Stop.
So when we spoke about mental health, I think that's what I really struggled with. I struggled with what am I going to do now? I don't understand this feeling. I don't understand the mental place that I'm going to be in. I have an amazing family. I get great support. And ultimately retiring was also to spend more time with my daughter because I was missing out on so much. And you can't get that time back. And that will last forever. My family is forever, and ballet only lasts a certain amount of time. So looking back, was I ready to stop my career for my own selfish reasons? No. I don't think I was at a decline yet. I don't know, maybe I was. I didn't feel like I was. I felt like I was still strong and I had still a couple of years in me. From a selfish, personal perspective, like, sure, mentally I was not ready. From the bigger picture, my life beyond my selfish self, I was ready to retire and spend that time and start that new chapter with my family and whatever that may be, whatever that might entail.
Yeah.
And though I've been retired for a year, I still struggle. I still struggle with the fact that I don't have that certain routine. Wake up in the morning, do what I used to do, go in, and class was such a big thing for me because it was a sense of like a part of meditation. Whatever you're dealing with that day or on the weekend or whatever was bothering you, you knew you could step into ballet and everything that would go away.
Yeah.
And if I think about it, that stemmed from my childhood. That feeling of being in a different space where every thought that was within you was about what you were doing, about your career. So you weren't with any other thoughts besides ballet and what am I going to do? I need to prep for this and my arm doesn't look right, I need to turn out more, whatever it may be. So it was my meditation. And that routine disappearing, a struggle, because now you've got this time, and what do you do? I have a family, but it's different.
Yeah.
It's very different.
Yeah.
Ballet is all about you. Now it's not about you anymore. Surprise. So from a mental capacity, I struggled deeply. I really, really battled with, especially knowing that I could have maybe continued, and from a professional aspect, part of me still wanted to be there. I was struggling with that because it felt like a sense of sacrifice, retiring, even though I would still have done it. I would still do it today, because I know what I've got and what I've gained, and how full my life is. Sure, it's not easy. And yeah, I think it takes time. I think a lot of, I've spoken to people, but it takes years. It's not like in a year, oh, wow, now you change and everything is happy. Yeah. How you, like, I've never thought about pursuing anything else. Yeah, I was always interested in like choreography and visionary of companies, and possibly moving in the direction of being an artistic director one day, because I like all that other thought process. I like still being within the same genre.
Yeah.
So I have aspirations, right? But you need to learn those skills prior. So I was lucky enough that I did start learning all those skills, and I had opportunities to learn and teach and choreograph and coach and co-produce and be on another side. I'm very grateful for that, because it's given me the tools and the skills now to be able to do more of that. But if you didn't have that, what would you do? Oh, did you want to be a doctor? Well, now you're going to go study for how many years? Or what else did you want to do other than dance?
Ballet doesn't prepare you for nothing.
Exactly.
After you're done. So
it's almost like way before you retire, way before, you need to start preparing, and you need kind of like some guidance. You need guidance to know, or to understand maybe what you might be going through, to start thinking about, and have someone there to maybe support you, to start thinking about new career opportunities. And I would say only now I have branched out. Now I've got so many ideas. I'm working on so many different things, and I feel I've got a bit of a spark in me again.
Okay, that's nice.
It's been very difficult.
That's beautiful.
I'm gonna cry.
Please do it. So for the last question, Shannon, what advice would you give to the new dancer, the ones who join company, or those people that want to do audition and they just feel like different and, I don't know, in your experience, what advice would you give to them?
I think always feel like you can ask questions. Know that you can speak, and that's okay. And if it's something you want, no one is going to stop you if you want it. I think you should go get it. And you're in control of your own destiny. And if you put in the work, you'll get closer to whatever that is. And know that you're not going to get there if you just sit back and do nothing, and do absolutely nothing. So my advice would be that if you're passionate about something and you foresee something in your life, you need to put in the work. And know that that work some days is going to be extremely difficult, and pushing through those difficult days is going to make you stronger. So, yeah, work hard, enjoy what you do, be passionate, have people around you that give you positive energy, that are there to support you and to guide you and to be there when things are hard. Surround yourself with love and care and determination, and people that are going to encourage you. And I think that's important. And education, that's what I mean, ask questions. Be around people that can help you and guide you, and look things up. Be curious. Curiosity is amazing. Be curious about everything, where it came from. Why is it like that? Why was this ballet sold and we're still doing it? Why is this hurting me? Just be curious. Ask questions. Look for answers.
That's beautiful. That's amazing. I think we need to have another second part of this podcast, because I think you have so much things to say and to tell that one podcast wouldn't be enough.
Yeah, I'd love to come back.
So let's make a plan for another podcast. And thank you for sharing that here in my podcast. Thank you so much for coming, and really appreciate you.
Thank you for having me.
Super.
And I'll be back.
Please, you must.
Thanks.
Super. Thank you guys for watching another episode of Freedom Podcast. Hope you like this one. I hope you subscribe and follow in all social media. Bye.